AI semiconductor investors got a lot of great news today. We can see Nvidia up 1%, AMD up 1.5%, Broadcom is up over 2%, almost 3% after hours. The main reason, Alphabet reported earnings and things are amazing. On today's episode, we're going to cover all that and some of the other things that investors should keep a closer eye on that just came out in the last 24 hours. So let's take a closer look in today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so first, let's just kind of look at what we're going to be discussing. So Alphabet reported earnings, and we're going to look at Alphabet earnings in general, but I really want to focus obviously more in the cloud, in the AI space, as most of this channel is focused on the semiconductor industry. So what it means for that, we're going to see, and just one of the best things is Alphabet, aka Google, announced that they are increasing their capital expenditure for this year by about $10 billion. Previously, it was about 75 billion. They're increasing it to 85 billion. So overall, that shows two things. First, very bullish for Broadcom and Nvidia, as these are two companies that provide AI chips for Alphabet. Now, for AMD doesn't really provide much for much AI chips to Alphabet, aka Google, but I think the market is saying if Google is increasing their capital expenditure, what's going to stop Microsoft? What's going to stop Oracle? What's going to stop Amazon from increasing their capital expenditure? So overall, it just showcases that there is this massive tailwind for capital expenditure, which kind of trickles down to AI chips and hardware. So I do have a pretty cool presentation here, and let's just kind of take a closer look at everything. So first, if we start off for Google, there were two segments that Wall Street was expecting. So first, in Google Cloud, they were expecting roughly $13 billion, a 26% year-over-year growth. And then for their search and other ad revenues, it was expected to be somewhere between 52.5 and $53 billion. And any loss here was going to create a lot of fear for the stock. As we're going to see, both actually beat. If we look at Google search and others, which was expected to be 52 to 53 billion, we actually saw 54.2, up 12% year over year. You also see YouTube ads up 13% year over year, and you see their subscription and platform and devices up 20% year over year. So they did beat on kind of that Google search and others. Like we mentioned, Google Cloud was expected to be up 26% to the low 13 billions. They knocked it out the park. Google Cloud actually grew 32% year over year, beating analyst expectations and doing roughly $13.6 billion in revenue. More importantly, operating margins almost doubled, roughly 11.3 a quarter ago, now sitting at 20.7. If you are an AI investor, you're going to like this, right? Capital expenditure continues to grow. It was up 70% versus a year ago to 22.5 billion. Unfortunately, though, this did bring free cash flow down to about $5.3 billion. Regardless, it's crazy that even after spending that type of money, you still have some massive amount of free cash flow coming into this business right now. Now, Sundar, the CEO of Google, did mention a few things. First, just strong growth in AI usage across their products and platforms. They mentioned that they're processing 980 trillion plus monthly tokens across their products and APIs, up from 480 trillion in May. So this is just showing two things. AI is now entering more markets, is entering more users. So you see a growth in tokens, but also you're also getting more usage per users as well. And they kind of just talk about all their AI overviews. We're going to take a closer look at that, but overall, the demand for AI is very healthy. Now, we're going to look at some charts here using fiscal.ai, and I do have a great promotion for you. Fiscal.ai/Jose, get 15% off. This is the platform that I use for all my data needs in investing. If you are serious about investing, you got to check out that platform. You got to check out that promotional code. But here, what I'm looking at is Google's cloud total percentage of revenue. We can see in March, in June of 2021, cloud revenue was only about 7.5% of total revenue. Now, most recent quarter, which they just announced, it's getting closer to that 15%. I think that is wild. The The other thing that we are seeing is the margins, the operating margins of cloud is increasing. This quarter we saw was roughly 20.7, where just a few years ago it was below the double digits. It was in the single digits, and a few years before that it was in the negative. So Google Cloud's operating margins is increasing dramatically, and that's what you like to see. Now, overall, we are also seeing kind of growth into all their revenue segments. I just wanted to kind of showcase this chart so we can visualize all this other growth happening in the other platforms. So this is Google Cloud revenue. This is their Google search, their YouTube ads, their Google subscriptions, and more. Now, if you are getting a lot of information in this channel, this is completely free. Make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. Check out my free daily semiconductor AI newsletter, whatthechip.happened.com. The link is down below. And like I mentioned, make sure to check out that special promotional offer at fiscal.ai/Jose. Now, I want to jump into some other things. And this is kind of the final thing I have here before I look at final thing of Alphabet before I showcase some other things. So this is more of a breakdown of what's happening here in quarter two as an AI investor. So first, Google Cloud revenue is now at 50 billion plus revenue, annual revenue run rate. Like we saw, Google Cloud is growing 32% year over year. Quarter two cloud revenue was 13.6 billion, and quarter two capex was up 70% year over year. Now, what I haven't mentioned before is Google's cloud backlog is up 38%, sitting at $106 billion now. They also did mention the following, that deals over 250 million in cloud have doubled year over year, and deals over $1 billion have in the first half of 2025 equal all of 2024. So what you're seeing is bigger AI cloud deals and them happening a lot faster compared to just a year ago. Now, like I mentioned earlier, full year capital expenditure outlook raised to about $85 billion, up from $75 billion. So very bullish for the semiconductor market. But this is the funny part, with further increases expected in 2026 due to the demand that they are seeing. Now, in forms of their Gemini models and AI portfolio, they mentioned that 9 million developers are building with Gemini, 450 million Gemini app monthly users, 85,000 plus enterprise are using Gemini, and 980 billion monthly tokens processed. And daily requests grew 50% plus from quarter one, and usage increased 35% year over year. Now, in forms of AI power search and transformation, right? The scary thing is AI is going to eat the world, or AI search. But AI overviews monthly users is now all in 200 plus countries, and now at 2 million plus monthly users, 100 million plus AI mode monthly active users in the US and India. And we are seeing kind of just growth all around. They also mentioned that YouTube Shorts now earning as much per watch hour as traditional in-stream in the United States with 200 million daily views. So overall, I am pretty excited about Google. I think Google is still pretty cheap for where it will be in the next few years. And they did announce some pretty cool strategic partnerships. They kind of talk a little bit about OpenAI and the Google Cloud infrastructure collaboration. They also gave a shout out to PayPal with their AI driven recommendation and enhanced security. They also talked about kind of Samsung Galaxy with the new Android and AI features integrating, and enterprise clients like Salesforce, DBS Bank using Gemini. Now, they kind of gave an outlook in forms of where the AI market is moving. So first, agentic experience. So right now it is in internal deployment, and these are AI agents or AI pretty much interns that are going to be doing work for us. Well, that's right now working internally at Google or Alphabet, but they do expect 2026 to be the year of broader adoption for the public. So that's pretty exciting. And that's going to drive even more AI demand and more needs for AI compute. They again mentioned that the supply demand is still a very tight environment, and it continues to be tight, expected in 2026, but they are building more capacity coming in the second half of 2025. Unfortunately, with all this AI servers, they do see a depreciation impact with higher depreciation from capital expenditure investments in Q3, accelerating that impact. But overall, I think this was a great overview of the earnings as an AI investor. And we also kind of took a closer look at those numbers. Now, I do want to mention there's so much happening in the AI market that I don't have the time to cover it all in a day. So I want to give you information of what you should keep an eye out for, and maybe let me know in the comments which one you want me to do a video next. So today here in the United States, we did have the AI Summit in DC, and there is about a 22-page PDF discussing this. So I can do that. Within this, the All In podcast seems to be the one that kind of ran this AI Summit, and there are about 5 hours of videos covering this from there's maybe some that I'm going to watch and some that I don't really care too much about. So for example, maybe I might watch the intro here. I might watch the one that has Jensen Huang, Lisa Su, some other players, and maybe I might watch the final speech from President Trump, and then kind of just read the PDF file that they have. Like I mentioned, it's about 28 pages here, and they kind of talk about what they're doing to innovate in the AI acceleration here in the United States. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I'm not sure how interesting this might be, but as an AI investor, I love to hear CEO talks. Very weird podcast, Theo Von, but we do see Sam Altman was at Theo Von's podcast, and Theo is more of a comedian, but you do get to hear from Sam Altman in a different environment. And maybe he tells something that I didn't understand or see before. So that's another one. Next, we do have Tesla. Tesla just reported earnings. The stock is down roughly 4.4%. And finally, SK Hynix, the company, a big memory player, just reported earnings. The stock was up a little bit on their time over there when the market is open. Right now, it does seem to be kind of tanking down and going flat. But if any of these grab your attention, either the AI government summit, either the Tesla earnings, or either SK Hynix earnings, let me know in the comments below, and I will be doing a video. Tomorrow, we also do have Intel earnings. We also have BE Semiconductor earnings. This is a fun time to be a semiconductor investor, a fun time to be an AI investor, and a fun time to make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. Now, if you want to check out some of my other videos, I'm going to post some videos here that I believe you are going to be interested in. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.